Welcome once again to Special Stage. Well, all crews this weekend have made their way to the Isle of Man for the infamous Manx National Rally, and it counts as round 2 in the Manx Rally Championship. At this event, the Welshman Melvin Evans has taken victory 4 times, but never within a hat-trick. So that will be his aim here this weekend, as well as equalling Kenny McKinstry's 5 wins here.
Day 1 would consist of 8 stages, with the first of those close to the capital Douglas, and the remaining stages taking place in and around Ramsey to the north of the island. And with the second loop being run in the dark, it would make these challenging roads a little bit more tricky. For Paul Bird and Aled Davies, it would be the ideal start. The pair open up a small advantage over these stages to lie just 1 second in the lead at the end of day 1. For Melvin Evans and Mark Glenister, it would be second place, but that wasn't how it started. The pair had been in the lead of the event in the early stages and built up a 9-second lead for that matter. But it would all be lost in Ramsey when the pair overshoot the bridge and stall the car. This, and some time lost to Bird on the following stages, meant second was the best they could do at the end of the opening day of rallying. Damien Cole and Darren Gerrard would go into this opening stage with a win in their sights. After missing out so closely on their last event on Epint, it would be maximum attack from the start. Unable to set the pace of the newer Focus and Impreza in the opening stages, but the times around Ramsey and the remaining stages in the loop would be good. Third place for now, just 7 seconds behind Evans. The gap back to fourth was already growing. A further 41 seconds in fact, a difference that wasn't helped for fourth place Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark with their problematic start on the very first stage. The bad start behind them though, the pair pick up the pace and get themselves in the mix now, chasing that podium position going into the second day of the rally. Winners at the previous round, the Chris Kelly Memorial Rally, Aaron Newby and Rob Fagg were off to a great start here this weekend as well. The pair 5th overall, but more importantly, leading the Manx Championship crews at this stage. A position which would of course net them another maximum points finish if they remained there.
One left, and narrows 4 left. And then 100 go. Watch the braking at the end. For Care, deceptive hairpin right. And 50. Crest 50. 5 left 80. 4 left. And crest 4 left. 50 down. And Care grid. Narrow 4 right. Watch the grid and narrow 4 right. And then 50. Go add 5 right plus over bump. 100. And crest jump, 150. And Care, 6 right at house, slowing, and 1 left. 1 left to the people. And 6 left. And 80 over bump, 3 right, tightens over finish. Watch the finish, 3 right, tightens, go on. And then 80. Okay, pal.
The Isle of Man and the Manx lanes are never a favourite for John Indry, with Island resident co-driver Pete Johnson alongside, but with the Darien driver in an early 6th place and leading the 2-wheel drive battle at this stage, the excuses could be saved for later in the rally. For now it was going well, and just 6 seconds behind Newby as well. Indry's closest 2-wheel drive rival at this stage would be Ashley Field, with Josh Davison alongside. However, there would be no relaxing between the pair. The times were close, and Field ends this opening day just 9 seconds behind Indry in 7th. Steve Simpson and Patrick Walsh were having some troubles here on the Isle of Man. Excess smoke from the car was a worry to start with. It would be checked out in service and given the all clear for continuing. After Simpson's look on this event in the past, this was sure to be a knock to the confidence so early on in the rally. But for now, 8th place was where they end day 1. For 9th place, Nigel and Michaela Cannell, it would be close going into day 2, just 4 seconds off the pace of Simpson after 8 stages. And with some favourites at the local driver coming up on day 2, Simpson would have to watch his back. But the real battle would be between 9th place Cannell and 10th place Andrew Leese, with Graham Farger alongside. The local pair always have a friendly rivalry on the stages, and it was no different here this weekend. Just a single second separating the pair at the end of the first day of rallying.
Short but tricky stages this evening, Melvin.
Yeah, very tricky, and especially the ones in town, through Ramsey, which cost us, I think we spun and we stalled and dropped about 8, 9 or 10 seconds of swing, which the small little lead I'd built up, we just lost it there. But it's quite tricky, It's easy to lose a lot of time, but it's not easy to make a lot of time, but keep going.
Were you happy you didn't see rain on the stages this evening?
Yeah, rain is always a bit difficult for everybody really with tyre choice, but it's nice and dry, and hopefully it'll be like this tomorrow and make it easy for all of us. But if it's wet, it's wet, but when it's in between, that's the worst.
5 out of the 20 completed, Damien. It's been good so far.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it so far. We were a little bit slow on the first two. Took a while to get into it, but then I think we've had fastest times on stages 3, 4 and 5. So 3 and 4 were just around Ramsey, but 5 was a proper one on a proper road, so it's nice to get a fastest time.
We should expect changeable weather conditions tomorrow. I know it's going to make those stages a lot trickier.
Yeah, it'd be quite difficult if they're wet and slippery, but it'll be the same for everybody, so nothing anybody can do about the weather. We'll just have to get on with it.
Onto the classes at the end of day 1 then, and leading the N4 class at this stage are our 9th place top 10 crew of Nigel and Michaela Cannell. Engine warning lights and a problem with the water splash on stage 1 were an early scare for Chris Rice and Craig Cameron, but they get through that and continue to end day 1 in 2nd place in the N4 class. There would be troubles before the event even began for Richard Barnard, as his navigator for the event fell ill just before the recce. So it was up to standing co-driver Jamie Foster to call the notes this weekend, and it was going well so far as well. A smooth run to 3rd in class now. It would just be the lone crew of Andrew Hockridge and Aled Edwards in Class A6, so they lead the way there. And in Class A7, it would be Alex Laffey and Jack Morton in the stunning Fiesta S2000 leading the way at this stage. With Chris Gushut de Fortis and Samantha Bartlett coming in 2nd in that class for now. Local pairing Martin Jones and Steve Luton were once again dominant in the B10 class, opening up a good lead at the end of day 1. Always entertaining for the spectators as well on these Manx lanes. And it will be 2nd in the class for Dale and Mark Clapworthy, the Toyota pair unable to match the local pace in front. And in 3rd it will be Dean Quayle and Barry Ford in the Peugeot. Entering the historic car in the main field wasn't a problem for Conor Corkill and Paul McCann. They lead the B11 class. Guy Simkis and Debbie Parry have a good run in the Astra at this stage to lie in 2nd place for now. While John Richardson and Eric Wilcoxon make their way into 3rd in that class. B12 would see the rear-wheel drive battle, with John Indry and Pete Johnson leading the way, as we saw earlier in our top 10 as well. Despite this spin, Ashley Field and Josh Davison remain 2nd in the class. And for Washington James and Gwynford Jones, it would be 3rd in that class. In B13, we'd see the Manx Championship leaders Aaron Newby and Rob Fagg out in front in the class lead. Locals Andrew Leese and Graham Farger take up 2nd place in the class for now. And it would be David Hardy and John McCulloch that head back to the grandstand at the end of day 1 in 3rd place in that B13 class. We would have already seen our B14 class leader Damien Cole, with Darren Garrard taking that lead position, with 2nd belonging to the Escort pair of Dave Corris and Carrie McAvoy. Third place was in the hands of Skoda crew John Stone and Lee Carter. In the historic category, it would be Richard Williams and Andrew Cowley that lead the way into service at the end of day one after retirement of Matt Davison and Tash Ellison. As well as the main rally here, there's also a National B rally for those with a different category of licence. So let's take a look at how they were shaping up. In Class N1 we have the lone car of Bouche Carouche and Dan Hurst. And in B9 it's Anthony Williams and Tim Gill out in front in the older style Fiesta. Second in that class meanwhile are Nigel Caldwell and Byron Mercer in the classic Mini. Class B10 would see Darren and Sue Underwood taking an early lead here this weekend. With second in that class going to the Nova of Andrew Dudgeon and Adam Yates at this point. In B11 we have the Escort of Hugh Geraint-Jones and Leon Williams leading the class. With Grant Lease and Nick Pledger in the Astra second in the class. Darren Atkinson and Phil Sandham lead the way in B12. And second here would be in the hands of John and Martin Cressy in the BMW Mini. B13 class at this stage saw the battle of the Evos. John Rickwood and Andy Barnard coming out on top of that battle. Just 17 seconds ahead though of Mark Borthwick and Phil Boyle at this stage. So at the end of day one on these classic Manx lanes, here's a reminder of the results. Day 2 would see a new challenge. The weather had changed and the conditions were wet. 4 new stages this morning would be repeated again after service, but these were some of the trickiest stages on the island, so just getting through them in one piece would be the aim for most crews today. There would be no change in the lead of the event. Paul Bird and Alan Davies remain in that number 1 spot. The advantage now up to 43 seconds. And after 12 stages for Melvin Evans and Mark Glenister, it would still be second. 11 seconds the difference now as the pair complete the first loop of day 2. For our overnight third place crew, Damien Cole and Darren Garrard, it would all go wrong on stage 12. The pair go a little too quick into this chicane and the car ends up wedged against the bank. Unable to select reverse, the pair have to wait frustratingly for help moving the car so they can continue in the rally. The crew, as a result, dropped down to 4th place, losing a minute with this incident. And of course, with cars setting off at minute intervals, Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark, the next car on the road this morning, would arrive at the stricken coal just in time to see him back on his way down the stage. At this point, Pritchard should know he's moved up to 3rd place, so the pressure would not be on to go and throw it all away in a chase to the finish line of the stage.
Into 4 left plus fast. 150. 2 left half long, max. Listen. 200. Line into 4 left plus fast in. 100, slowing, 5 right plus, tightens, tight hairpin left, mollies. 5 right plus, tightens, tight hairpin left. 5 right plus, sharp, 70, 2 left in, concentrate, 40.
For Aaron Newby and Rob Fagg, this morning's loop would go well, maintaining the lead of the Manx Championship runners at this stage and managing to keep the locals at bay for now. 5th place going into service. But chasing down Newby and not giving it to him too easily would be Nigel and Michaela Cannell, the pair going well and lying in 6th place at this stage of the rally. We'd see a fantastic move up the results with Graham Coffey and David Gamblin. The pair seem to have upped their game since last season and it was going well here on the Isle of Man. and there will be just as big a move up the results for David Hardy and John McCulloch. Unfortunately though, Coffey was getting away slightly, a few seconds per stage, and now up to 26 seconds in total. We'd see a drop down to 9th on this loop for John Indry and Pete Johnson. The reason for this was grip, or lack of it. A wrong tyre choice made the car handle badly in the wet conditions, and after a few moments in the stages, the pair make it back to service to make the changes ready for the next loop.
Six right. Well, old John, 130 flat left. Bit of caution. 80, 3 right. 80, 7 left plus. 250 line. 7 left plus.
And rounding out our top 10 at this stage will be Andrew Leese and Graham Farger, the local crew in the Evo. The pair showing their local knowledge and bravery as well, that show a good combination here on the Isle of Man stages. Unfortunately, this morning's stages see as Lou, Dave Corris and Carrie McAvoy as they crash out over the crossroads in the first stage of the day, causing just too much damage to the wheel on the car to continue.
I just spoke briefly to your co-driver there, Mark. He said that was hard work this morning.
It was really difficult. I'm surprised we're still here, to be honest. It was so bad I nearly pulled out because the heated screen was just completely misted up. No visibility at all coming down to the Brandywell cottage, and we were lucky to get through the stage, but we kept going. We pulled a bit of time back on the last two, but it's just so slippy and dangerous there. When a moment you give it, you try and push hard and you get moments. But that's the Isle of Man. We know that when it's wet, it's a tricky place,
Well, you've made a temporary fix for that problem.
Yeah, I think we got some moments. Hair dryers are being bolted to the cage. But, if it does the job, it'll anything, because we just couldn't see absolutely nothing. So if I get 25% more visibility, it'll help.
You're in a good position here on the Manx Rally this weekend, and you took a win at the first round, so you're going to want to stay there.
Yeah, it's tough today. Last night was good. It was dry. We had a good run through there and we were leading the Manx, but now Nigel's catching us up. It's got wet on Drewdale and floods everywhere, so he knows the stage like back of his hand, so we're on a bit of a down on that. But we'll keep plodding on. We've took time on the last two, and we'll just see if we can maintain it and keep going.
Oh, definitely, Nigel, you're enjoying it, and I know there is a battle going on between yourself and our newbie.
Yeah, there is. Aaron made a bit of a monkey of me last night, and I woke up a bit more determined today. Yesterday I was off the pace a bit, and we had a bit of a problem with an electrical thing on it cutting out. We changed the plugs, which seemed to get rid of it, and got the battery charging again. Today, I think the right choice of tyres for the first stage, and I thought I was dead smooth and not pushing hard, but the time was good. So
there's no room for error on these stages, though, but very easy to have a mishap.
Well, that's the trouble. You get a bit of confidence up and start flying a bit, and then you come around a corner, stand in water and that, and you're sliding towards a hedge and knocks you for the next few miles and that. So it's trying to keep smooth and neat, really, is what I'm doing anyway.
So, Andrew, tyre problems for you so far today?
Yeah, this morning I got a puncture at the end of Drewdale, which wasn't a problem. In fact, we only had 4 wets, so I had to put a slick on the back to make it so it was drivable. Through the Keller was very interesting. The next 2 weren't so bad because it was quite open, but that Keller one was just a killer. I've lost a load of time. So
you're bound to have been very conscious that there was a slick tyre on your car this morning.
Yeah, it was in the back. Well, it was in the back of my head, and the back end of the car was in most of the hedges. So yeah, it was just not fun in there. It was horrible. It was like you needed a jet ski or something to get around most of those stages. It's horrible. So
you've made a tyre change now?
Yeah, we got some old Inters on which I bought second hand, so they'll be fine.
A quick look at the class battles after this morning's stages, and it will be Nigel and Michaela Cannell continuing to lead the N4 class at this stage. Chris Rice and Craig Cameron have a good run to hold on to their second in class place for now. But there will be change in third as we see Julian Barnett and Andrew Smith step up to take that place from Richard Barnard. Andrew Hockridge and Alan Edwards do what they need to do, keeping it going to continue as the lone A6 crew. Still maintaining a good lead in the A7 class for Alex Laffey and Jack Morton in the S2000 Fiesta. And still in second place, it's Chris Goodshot, De Fortis and Samantha Bartlett at this stage. In Class B10, we see the Rapid Nova crew of Martin Jones and Steve Luton in the lead of the class by a good margin now. Dale and Mark Clapworthy coming into service with second in the class. And Dean Quayle with Barry Ford alongside round out our top 3 in B10. A good lead in the B11 class for Conor Corkill at this stage with Paul McCann alongside. It's a good way to end this loop as well. The pair going extremely well down the Druidale stage during this morning. Guy Simkist and Debbie Parry here having a good run, remaining second in that class. Still going well as well for the Astra pair this morning. And in third it will be Jeff Wright and Chris Sanderson in the Almira kit car. The B12 battle was of course being led by the Darien of John Indry and Pete Johnson at this stage. Ashley Field and Josh Davison remained second in that battle, much to the delight of Indry. And making it a Darien top 3 so far would be Washington James and Gwynfor Jones in the third of the examples in the B12 class at this stage. In the historic category, Richard Williams and Andrew Cowley continue through the stages to record a finish. Back to the National B Rally now, and no change in the N1 class as Boosh Karouche and Dan Hurst remain in line for the class victory. Anthony Williams and Tim Gill still lie in the lead of the B9 class in the Fiesta, while Nigel Caldwell and Byron Mercer still hold second in that Mini. In B10 it would be change at the top as we see Andrew Dudgeon and Adam Yates take over the top spot in his class. This in part due to problems from the point of view of Darren and Sue Underwood. They move down to second in the class. In B11 we have the escort of Hugh Geraint Jones and Leon Williams leading the class, with Grant Lease and Nick Pledger in the Astra second in the class. No change in B12 though, as Darren Atkinson and Philip Sandham keep hold of that class lead at this stage. John and Martin Cressy in the Mini still trail Atkinson now though, the gap increasing as well. And we see some change in B13. Mark Bothwick and Phil Boyle jump up into the lead of that class. Second place now in the hands of Subaru pair Ross Miller and Stephen Butler. A third of the way through day 2, and the results look like this. On to the next loop of stages and a change at the top of the results as Melvin Evans and Mark Glenister jump up into the lead once again. The difference though was only small at 15 seconds, but that was about as big as it had been throughout the whole event so far.
Well, has it improved any for you, Melvin? Is the blower working?
Well, you know, we've had all kinds of dramas. We spun on the Curragh stage and dropped about 12 to Bird, but he's had a puncture on the previous stage coming to here, so it's changed everything now. I don't know where we're lying at the moment, you know. We've had a lot of problems, but we caught him on the stage, so he's lost a minute, so see how it goes. Hopefully we've got a bit of a lead, I don't know.
For Paul Bird and Alan Davies, it was bad luck. The pair not only suffer a misfortune of collecting a duck in the front of the car, they also get a puncture, losing them the lead and losing them a lot of the car's bodywork. Second to Evans once again and on the back foot, chasing the victory once more. This of course means for Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark, it would have briefly been second place, only to drop back to third in the following stage. But the gap to Bird was now only 3.5 seconds and anything was possible.
Left plus and 6 right plus fast. 6 right plus fast. 50. Leftish over crest. 30. 9 left. 9 left. 30. 9 right. 20. 9 right. 20. 2 left sharp max. 120. 1 right short Max, 30, mid over small crest and 2 left sharp fast, 40, line into 4 left short opens, 3 left half long, tightens, 80, leftish over flat crest, 150, slippy line into 6 left plus.
Well, still going as well for you, Jason.
Yeah, we just went on the same tyres as this morning and it's dried up a hell of a lot, so they've gone off on the last 2 really bad. We had a couple of big moments in there and I saw some mates of mine waving me through there and I thought that someone had gone off because they were waving that bad, but no, we're enjoying it.
You seem to be getting used to the car more and more.
Yeah, I find it easier on the tight and twisty stuff like through the Curras because it's not so high speed and it's more what I'm used to. On these faster stages it's just a confidence thing.
For Damien Cole and Darren Garrett, things were a little better. No problems at least, but with the pace so fast at the front, their times were just keeping them where they were in 4th and not allowing them any advance up the results at this stage.
Long flat right and flat left. 100. Flat left and flat left, don't cut. 150. Flat left, 150. Flat right, 40. Long flat left, 150 over finish. 200 to stop. Okay.
Was that loop any better for you, Damien?
Seemed to be. At least we got all the way around without stopping anywhere.
And conditions seem to be drying up now as well.
Paul Bird had a bit of had his share of bad luck on that one as well, and he had a puncture on the last for one stage of the loop. So that's narrowed the gap a bit, but I think we might be still a bit far back to catch him, but there's still 4 stages left, so we'll give it a good go.
There would be some change though in the lead of the Manx Championship Cruise. Nigel and Michaela Cannell now lie in 5th place in the results and in the lead of the Manx Championship Cruise for the first time this weekend.
Nigel, Druidale, always been a stage that's been kind to you.
Yeah, I suppose so. I just I try to take it smooth, to be honest with you. I don't attack it like I used to do in a front-wheel drive car, but it seems to just come together for me on there.
The reason for this jump, the loss of Aaron Newby from the results. Discovering in service that the car had a split fuel tank, later discovered to be a piece of metal protruding from the ground on one of the cuts the crew made. Game over and a disappointing end to the event. For Graham Coffey and David Gamblin though in the Subaru WRC it would be 6th, and the pace was still good, although a small collision with a bale in this loop would cause a small worry for the pair, although it still looked to only be minor cosmetic damage on the Subaru.
Well, Graham, you've made it this far. It's been a tricky event, but you're into the final few hurdles.
Yeah, we've just hit a bale in there. We come up on a corner very, very quick and hit a bale. We're still on wet tyres, which isn't the right choice at the moment, but as you say, we're still here, so we'll see what happens.
This loop though would see some improvement for Steve Simpson and Patrick Walsh, also in the Subaru WRC. The pair were clawing their way back up the leaderboard now and into 7th. Even though they're still not happy with everything, it seemed to be going more their way than could be said earlier in the event.
Well, things really haven't improved that much for you, Steve.
No, definitely not. It's not our day this, or it's not our weekend this weekend. So
tell us what else has been happening this morning.
Oh, too long. It's not with the weekend, so. But there you go. That's rallying, isn't it? We're still here. We'll see what happens at the end of it.
So for Andrew Leese and Graham Farger, it would be 8th. Second of the Manx Cruise now that Newby was out of the picture and going well. Despite the conditions not being ideal, it was the same for everyone.
How are those intermediates faring out?
Yeah, they're brilliant now, yeah. The 18s have made such a difference from the 17s. It's just fantastic. It's totally different car, completely different.
For John Indry and Pete Johnson, the conditions were not much better either, particularly in a rear-wheel drive big power Darien. But at least the tyre choice was going better, and they were able to push a little more and just move away from their closest two-wheel drive rivals.
Well, are tyres and grips still a problem for you, John?
No, it's all right, it's good. We manned up on the first Druid Hour there and set a time nearly the same as Cannelloni and then nearly 30 up on Ashley. Look at that.
You're going to look forward to the...
Muddy everywhere. We've just had a aquaplane tank slapper coming into this, and I told Peter, don't worry, I am now going to get a World Rally car. It's all good. If you want to do the business on these lanes, if it's not bone dry, we're there. You know, if we've taken 30 out of Ashley on one stage, we're going to beat the Darians, which I will be telling him all night long.
Things were looking a little better for David Hardy and John McCulloch in this loop too. The pace seemed to be improving, and the pair gained some confidence over the second run of stages to go into service in 10th. Back to the class roundup now, and still in the lead of that N4 class are Nigel and Michaela Cannell. Chris Rice and Craig Cameron maintain second in the class. And no change in third either, as Julian Barnett and Andrew Smith end this loop in that place. Still the lone A6 car hanging on. Andrew Hockridge and Alan Edwards stay on the road and in line for that class win. No change in the A7 class as Alex Laffey and Jack Morton keep the S2000 Fiesta on the road and in the lead. Chris Gouchot, De Fortis and Samantha Bartlett still in second place. A change in the results in B10 now as we lose Martin Jones. So it's Dale and Mark Clapworthy that take up that class lead for now. Dean Quayle and Barry Ford take up that second place, recently vacated by Clapworthy, now in the lead. And we now see Tom and Manda Shimin rounding off the top three in that class. In B11, it's the escort of Conor Corkill and Paul McCann remaining in the top spot and in line for victory. Guy Simkis and Debbie Parry in the Astra close behind in second. And in third would still be Jeff Wright, with Chris Sanderson alongside in that Almira kit car. No change at the top of the B12 class leaderboard. John Indry and Pete Johnson still lead the way on their way to victory. Ashley Field and Josh Davison unable to catch the fellow Darien crew, but they do manage to keep hold of second place in class for now. A new face in the top of the classes now as we see Peter Taylor and Carl Williamson taking up third in the B12 class. In B13 it would still be Andrew Leese and Graham Farger with the class lead at this stage. David Hardy and John McCulloch were looking to round off this event with a good finish, and second in class at this stage was a good way of going about it. On a rare visit to the Isle of Man, Bob Fowden and Steve McPhee round out the top three in the B13 class. There will be no problems for Richard Williams and Andrew Cowley as they stay at the top of the historic category. So with just 4 more stages remaining, this is how the results look. On to the final stages of the rally now then, and a look at the class results. But first, a look at how the National B event finished. In the N1 class, Bouche Carouche and Dan Hurst make it to the end of the rally to take the class trophy home with them. Just one finisher in B9 means the trophy goes to Anthony Williams and Tim Gill in the Fiesta. And there'll be no change to B10 towards the end of the day either. Andrew Dudgeon maintaining that lead of the class into the final stages. Darren and Sue Underwood managed to get the car home in second, albeit some 4.5 minutes off the pace at the front after their problems this weekend. And in B11, the win goes to Hugh Geraint-Jones and Leon Williams in the Escort. Chris Taylor and Johnny Sprout take the runner-up spot. And Darren Atkinson brings home the Escort for a Class B12 win, as well as the outright win in the National B event. His nearest rival still in the form of John and Martin Cressy in the BMW, though they finished second just less than 2 minutes off the lead. And in B13, it will be change again. We lose our early leaders, and they're replaced by Malcolm Maudsley and Matti Heikkinen in the Impreza. The Subaru crew followed just over a minute further back by John Rickwood and Andy Barnard. Third in N4 would be Julian Barnett and Andrew Smith. They step up to the podium place in the later part of the event, but the pair will be glad to go home with that trophy today. Coming out second in the M4 class would be Chris Rice and Craig Cameron, but it wouldn't be without its incidents. This off in stage 12, probably the biggest, looking to be continuing to the end and certainly lucky to maintain that class position. But it's a welcome and well-deserved class win for local crew Nigel and Michaela Cannell. The pair had led from the start, so the place was never really in doubt. The Lone A6 crew of Andrew Hockridge and Aled Edwards make it to the end of the event, doing just what they need to pick up the class award. And in B10, the second place trophy would go to Dean Quayle and Barry Ford in the Peugeot. No change in the lead of the class though, that would still go to Dale and Mark Clatworthy in the Toyota. For John Richardson and Eric Wilcoxon, it would be third place in B11, a good run over day 2, helping to secure that position. Jeff Wright and Chris Sanderson in the Almira kit car have a good run to second in the class. But the dominance was there for all to see. For Conor Corkill and Paul McCann, they walk away with the class victory. No change in B12, it's third place going to Peter Taylor and Carl Williamson. Ashley Field and John Davison remain second best in the Darien battle. So that means it's a well-deserved class win for John Indry and Pete Johnson this weekend. Third in B13 wouldn't come without its problems, but Neil Arden and Giles Corbett get through the rally in one piece and claim that final podium place in the class. So for David Hardy and John McCulloch, it would be no change. Second in the class was theirs all day for the taking, and for the end of the event, the result would look no different. But upholding local honours and taking the class win are Andrew Leese and Graham Farger in the Evo. Making it to the end of the rally and claiming the historic trophy in the process are Richard Williams and Andrew Cowley in the Escort.
Well, you're back early.
Yeah, a bit of a disaster, unfortunately, but that's rallying, the Isle of Man, it's tough. We had a bit of a lead and we hope we would have managed it, but the input shaft in the gearbox just broke and no gears.
It is disappointing. I know your aim here this weekend was to take the hat-trick, but also to equal the 5 times win that Kenny McKinstry had taken here.
Yeah, I know it would have been nice to do that, but rallying is rallying, Okay, we were disappointed at the time, but these things happen. We go home and we can come back again.
For John Stone and Lee Carter, it would be 10th place. Not the climb up the results he would have hoped for by the end of the rally, but the Asphalt Championship season was only just beginning, and the points would be valuable later in the year for the Skoda driver. Ninth would go to David Hardy and John McCulloch. The B13 class runners-up have a much better day too, and finish the event with some good points in the Asphalt Championship. And of course at this stage, that's what it's all about. For John Indry and Pete Johnson, it would be 8th. No advance on that result since the wrong tyre choice this morning, but they do walk away with the B12 class victory, as well as the Millington two-wheel drive prize.
Flat left, 100, bit of caution,
Three left. 3 right, 40, 7 right. 3 left, 150. Caution, 7 right. Tightens past Chevron. Flat left, 60. 4 left over bump, narrows at wall. 80. Down. 4 right, don't cut. 40. 3 left over finish. I am glad you find that funny.
For Andrew Leese and Graham Farger, it would be a solid 7th. A good result considering the various problems throughout the day, and a good start to the season for the pair who were not present at round 1 of the Manx Championship. A great result for Graham Coffey and David Gamblin, taking home 6th this weekend. Everything seemed to go to plan and work well for the Subaru pair as they claimed some good Asphalt Championship points. After a troubled weekend, it would be a 5th place finish for Steve Simpson and Patrick Walsh. The pair certainly made the best of a bad weekend to finish in the top half of the results. Not quite the victory they enjoyed at round 1 of the championship, but the Jim Clark Rally would be next, and it's an event the pair have done well on in the past. It would be a great result for Nigel and Michaela Cannell. The pair finish as the leading local crew and claim the top points in the Manx Championship results for this round. A maximum score and a non-finish each for Cannell and Newby means that the next round will see an interesting battle unfold. For Damien Cole and Darren Garrard, the troubles were far from over. Their time loss earlier in the day was enough to put them down into 3rd, but any chances of getting that place back were lost in stage 18 when they picked up a double puncture in the second half of the stage. Far from ideal, they eventually finish over 3 minutes off the rally leaders, but with the problems, 3rd would be a fortunate result. So Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark go into the final stage just under 11 seconds down on the lead, and it wasn't an easy stage to make a push, but that is just what they did and managed to claw back some time from the lead. Unfortunately though, not enough, finishing just over 3 seconds down and having to settle for 2nd place. It seems though that with a difference that small at the finish, this rally was won and lost on that very first stage with a stall on the start line for Pritchard. There was, however, no doubting their pace this weekend, and the delighted crew go away with a better result than they ever could have hoped for when they arrived this weekend.
60, 2 right, 30, 4 right tightens, minus 20, 2 left half long.
So that, of course, means with a dominant performance, it would be long-time rally leaders Paul Bird and Aled Davies taking the victory here at round 2. This result puts Bird in the lead of the championship now, but with him due to miss at least the next round in Scotland, he most likely won't be in that position for long. So after 20 challenging Manx stages, here's a reminder of the results from round 2.
So your first time out in a World Rally car, I don't think you expected 2nd place, but to be so close to taking 1st place, it's got to be disappointing rolling into the podium.
Yeah, it's a little gutting, but at the end of the day, a top 5 here would have been an amazing result for me, and to be so close to Paul at the finish, it's absolutely brilliant. And when it's so close, it's enjoyable because you've got something to keep going for. So it's good. It's a good day, and hopefully it'll be a good night. That
last stage, talk us through it. I mean, you took 7 seconds out of Paul in that final 10-miler.
Yeah, after the service area, I thought I'll have a go on the next stage, and if we were within 10 seconds, I'll have a push on the last one. And we both beat the bogey, so it was 10 seconds gap. And we had a good go on that last stage, and a few moments, but we got through, and there you are.
Damien, it's always a challenging event, the Manx Rally, 20 stages, and to complete it, you take 3rd place points away today. So are you happy with that?
Yeah, we had a good day. A couple of problems. We had a double puncture on one of the stages. Nearly put it off hit something on the side when the back tyre went down and smashed the front right wheel. So we were lucky to get to the end of that stage. So we've had a few problems, but third time I've been third overall on the Manx.
Well, you're just about to cross the finish line here, Nigel. I know you're one happy man rolling into the TT Grandstand this evening.
Yeah, a lot happier than I nearly was this afternoon. Had a bit of a closey on the third to last stage there, 5th gear. Full tank slapper, going across Drudale in the water, in the heather and out of the heather. And I didn't think we were going to get to the end then, but we're here now and well pleased for it.
20 stages in the Manx National Rally is definitely no easy feat. So for Paul Bird and Ali Davies, their perseverance paid off in the end and they take victory. I know with 2 field attempts here, definitely this win is going to be welcomed by then. That's it from the TT Grandstand on the Isle of Man. See you soon.